kind of like a real basic grassroots thing we could do. If I knew a way to get all the way to Gates's office with that petition that wouldn't just end up in somebody's trash can. You know, he gave that speech about a month ago, and I think I have a couple more copies of it here, or the story about it, where he just said the Pentagon is spending and wasting way too much money. Now, he talked about their increase next year kind of going from $50 billion down to maybe 20, but we're still talking real money here, although it's not cutting into the 700 billion. It's just saying there ought to be 720 instead of 750, and that's probably not counting at all. But he is seen as being somebody who is aware that there's a big problem here, that business as usual just keeps ratcheting up duplication, waste, and so on. So,
can't our senators get to it?
Oh, they sure could, but I mean they're locked in. I mean it's the military-industrial congressional media complex. I mean it's.
Well, I know that.
This.
Well, we should ask Danny. Is there a way that that Bennett could be pushed to one?
Could we get a meeting with him next time he's in town? Half hour even?
What's the question?
Well, to give our concerns about this aviation brigade, as to whether he's looked at all aspects of its potential impact.
Plus how to get to Gates.
Huh?
There's a good question. Anyway.
Yeah, I wrote that one. I wrote that question down. How do citizens get to the Secretary of the Army? Secretary of
DOD, yeah.
That's a good question. Your answer was right through your congressman. I don't think there is a way for civilians to get to an appointee like that.
I'm going to go see this guy, Casey Howard, again. He's a former
He was going to come tonight, and I think he got
very
really
chatty.
sick
I mean, I talked to him for a long time, and he was very blunt-spoken. Sure, the people of Broadmoor are going to have more weight if they complain about noise than the people of Colorado. That's just the way politics is, and it's not necessarily good. That's the way it is. And he was the one that finally said, yeah, this is going to come as a single announcement that has two phases. The fact that Fort Carson didn't get the brigade going to Fort Lewis doesn't mean they're not going to get one a year later. There's still some possibility that second one could go to Alaska, but then he was saying, oh, why would they send it to Alaska? I mean, partly he was still being a lobbyist, but they've got several forts up there kind of in a complex, and one of them has ABMs at it, and I suppose that might be their argument that they need helicopters in case somebody wants to monkey with the anti-ballistic missiles. I'm way off here, but that's apparently the case that might be in competition if both of these brigades do come to be or set in motion before we can stop them.
We could reach out to Tea Party members and say, worried about mysterious black helicopters?
Well, that's it. So a petition drive or an attempt to, through Bennett or Udall or both, to see if Gates is what his thinking is on this. You know, maybe even because he actually killed that other brigade pretty fast. There were several bases that all, I think maybe 4 were going to get them, thought they had them. At Fort Carson, they might have actually started building buildings for them. We don't, I'm still researching that. But he just said, look, we're stretched too thin. We're going to add people to the existing brigades, not make any new ones. And so the idea that Fort Carson lost that brigade is not accurate. It didn't go anywhere else. Didn't go anywhere. Wasn't created. But that's often, you hear that thing saying, well, because there was a little anti-military sentiment in our community, we lost that brigade. I mean, that was just baloney, but it was said. Mary first and then Steve.
But it's the same thing with these two combat aviation brigades don't exist yet. They have to they have to recruit people for them. They have to create them. So they really don't exist.